to this week's Rebel Report. It's been a really exciting weekend since it's been the semi-final games for the upcoming Mermaid Ball. And the one I have been really excited about was Towers vs Tigers.
Sure.
I'd say it was really close in the first half. Tigers actually had a chance to pull it off. In the end, the game turned out was 38-13 for the Towers. So they are in the finals, going to face the Razorbacks, like after 70 years of absence. I don't know where it actually turned the whole game, like for the Towers, in the favor of the Towers. But I know, like at one point, Tigers, like they had 3 incomplete passes. Do you think that was a turning point, or what actually happened?
I don't know if that was the turning point. I think watching the game, the Tigers or the Towers came down the field and marched the ball pretty well. They came out and showed that they were able to play, and they were going to, exercise their will in the run game. Overall, I think the Tigers had an opportunity in the game. Early in the game, there was a couple of turnovers that the Towers had that were called down by contact, which could have kind of a couple questionable calls, but they turned out to be something that I think inevitably hurt them. And the Tigers also had 2 scoring opportunities early in the first half that could have been something of a changer for them too. Instead of being down 17-0 in the second quarter, they could have actually been 17-14 game, or it could have been a lot closer early on. And then it just, like you said, a lot of incompletions early on and a lot of misfiring by the Tigers kind of put them in an awkward position of not being able to play with confidence of what they needed to do. And I think in the end, the Towers just started to pull away, and that was kind of how the game went.
Razorbacks and Diggers, but turning out that Razorbacks won over Diggers. Was it again?
39.
20-39 for the Razorbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like kind of like, the 2 enemies facing each other, the 2
finalists for the last 6 years or something like that. Yeah.
And now it turned out being totally different.
Well, it's also kind of interesting because if you look at the last few years in the finals, with either team winning, the Razorbacks or the Gold Diggers, it's really gone down to the wire. Nobody's really been blowing anybody out or anything like this. And then you get this game that was, such a wide point margin that you kind of surprised what was going on.
What was going on?
I don't know. Everybody keeps talking about Jeffrey Lewis.
I know. He had a great day, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I think that's kind of the answer. I mean, Jeffrey Lewis is kind of the key thing for them, and the Razorbacks. They lose their quarterback in the middle of the season, and Kenny Sewell comes out of retirement and plays, and Thomas Lemon plays quarterback for him, and then they have another guy play quarterback for him, and they kind of just figure out a way. And one thing that keeps being steady for them is Jeffrey, and no matter what seems to be going around them, they seem like the team that thrives on mayhem. Because if you look at what's going on and what's happened to them throughout the year, you wouldn't expect them to be anywhere where they're at. And they just seem to make it happen. And that's what you do. You just win when you figure things out, and that's what they're doing. And hats off to them. They had a great game, and they played well. And the Diggers, I think, were, kind of tired and beat up, and that's no excuse for them. They're a well-coached team, and I just think, I think the history is there. It's just, I think that it was, I don't know what happened. I think that there's kind of just weren't really completely prepared for the Lewis factor.
But as you just mentioned before, like the Razorbacks in the very end, especially in this season, they always figured it out, and they won. And this is also the attitude to have for the upcoming final. Obviously, they also say that Towers is a great team, and they're really looking forward meeting them. But in the very end, they also say we've been there in the last 6 years, and we know how to play it. So we're really gonna fight for this, and they're gonna have a hard time.
Well, yeah, they actually it was 6 years with the Diggers, but it's actually been 8 years in total that they've been in the finals. And it's
not even more than.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because the Towers haven't been there in 17 years. And on paper, you'll look at those teams and you'll say, okay, they're very similar. They both are based off on the run. They both have fine backs. Casper was the league MVP last year. A lot of people argue and say Jeffrey's the league MVP this year. And there's some other names that can be thrown out there, but you're looking at very dynamic backs. You're looking at offenses that play multiple pro-style offenses with a two-back set, and then they go to 4 receivers. So they do a lot of different things. Both teams like to throw the deep ball. Both teams are built on size. They're both big. On paper, you'd probably say that the Towers are more athletic. As a whole, they're younger, for sure. But you get to the finals, and the Razorbacks are battle-tested there. It's not going to be a big show for them. They've done that show. 17 years for the Towers. They're undefeated. So they've got a lot of momentum going in there, but they've got a couple of little things that could be interesting to creep up on it. And, it comes down to the wire again of who you want to pick. And that should be something interesting that, we'll discuss. I know you and I and others will discuss in the following week, in our next episode and stuff like that. So it should be kind of cool.
Yeah, totally. And this is exactly what we're going to do next week. We're going to have a closer look into their tactics, perspectives, how it's going to be, all this whole pre-game coming up. So if you want to have a closer look, stay tuned. We see each other next week again. We're going to try to sort of prepare you for the final that is coming up the 12th of October in Randers. We're really looking forward to it. We wish both teams all the very best, and I see you there.